Like a Flash of Lightning by Gansen John Welch. Human life briefly blooms, then rapidly withers and dies. Death is impervious to all pleas and cries. To delay that terrible time and final hour, like an ephemeral fragile flower, we are rapidly running out of time as the hour fast approaches when our freedom forever dies. And traumatized truth lies, raped, abused, murdered, neglected and abandoned, in plain sight, scorned, and shamefully ignored, by the indoctrinated masses who cannot comprehend the warnings of the few, whose only weapons are truth and honesty. When they vainly try to defend our hard-won rights against the rich and powerful who use force and might to impose their evil totalitarian tyranny on all who long to be free from fear, falsehood, lies and suffering, now is the time that we must realize that only Amida brings complete and permanent relief from pain, folly, ignorance and grief. Unenlightened beings cannot, as all Amida Dharma Masters state, free themselves from samsara. Time is short, so wake up from the sleep of reason and realize that you are living in an age of treason, an endless nightmare full of worries, woes and cares. Entrust your karmic destiny to Amida, who will finally free you from all your evil karma that will ripen during future births in samsara. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, Amida Buddha. Homage to Amida Buddha. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. The title for the above verses was inspired by Shakyamuni Buddha. Quote, "This is how to contemplate our conditioned existence in this fleeting world, like a tiny drop of dew or a bubble floating in a stream, like a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, or a flickering lamp, an illusion, a phantom or a dream. So is all conditioned existence to be seen." End quote. The Buddha, the Diamond Sutra. The above verses were inspired by the following passages from pages 104 to 112 of the excellent and very important book by Reverend Josho Adrian Cirlea, Commentary on the Sutra on the Buddha of Infinite Life, the vow of complete reliance on the power of Amida. Explanation of the 18th or the primal vow. Quote, "If, when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters who sincerely entrust themselves to me desire to be born in my land and say my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offences and those who slander the right Dharma." End quote. The 18th vow. As you can see, the primal vow contains 2 sentences, one explaining the way to be born in his pure land for all beings, and the other showing a so-called exclusion or exception from birth aimed at a category of people. Also, there are various important elements in both parts which will be explained separately in this chapter. By being in accord with the primal vow, one is born in the fulfilled land of the Pure Land, or the center of the Pure Land, where he immediately becomes a Buddha. This kind of birth is called birth by transformation, and I will explain it in more detail when I reach sections 43 to 45 of this sutra. According to Shinran, the passage showing the fulfillment of the 18th vow is in section 22 of the sutra. Quote, "All sentient beings who, having heard his name, rejoice in faith, think of him even once, and sincerely transfer the merit of virtuous practices to that land, aspiring to be born there, will attain birth and dwell in the stage of non-retrogression. But excluded are those who have committed the 5 grave offences and abused the right Dharma." End quote. It will be explained in full detail when I reach that section and the 11th vow, but generally speaking it should be read as follows. Beings who entrust to Amida, say his name in faith, and wish to be born in his land, will receive Amida's transference of merits that he acquired after eons of virtuous practices, and will be established in the stage of non-retrogression for birth in the Pure Land. We will see in the following pages what this exclusion really means. The meaning of sentient beings of the 10 quarters. This shows that the promise of Amida Buddha is addressed to all beings without any discrimination or distinction between them. All are the object of Amida's primal vow, no matter how high or low they are on the scale of spiritual evolution, and especially if they are the lowest of the low. Quote, know that the primal vow of Amida makes no distinction between people young and old, good and evil. Only shinjin or faith is essential, for it is a vow to save the person whose karmic evil is deep and grave, and whose blind passions abound. End quote. Quote, the power of the vow is without limit. Thus, even our karmic evil, deep and heavy, is not oppressive. The Buddha's wisdom is without bounds. Thus, even those of distracted minds and self-indulgence are not abandoned. End quote. Quote, the heinous will be saved, and the venal embraced by Amida Buddha. The bad will be saved, and the good embraced. Those who live far will be saved, and those who live near embraced. Those who live long after Buddha Shakyamuni's entrance to parinirvana will be saved, and those who lived shortly after embraced. The profundity and extensiveness of the great compassionate primal vow are beyond verbal description. Believe in it in the depth of your heart, and validate the truth within yourself. End quote. Sentient beings of the 10 quarters also means that the primal vow was made not only for humans but for non-human beings too, like spirits, gods, etc. As we know very well, when Shakyamuni Buddha delivered his sutras, many non-human beings were present in the assembly, and it is also known that he went to teach the Dharma to God realms too. Shinran Shonen also mentioned that beings in all forms of existence can hear, whatever hearing may mean in various realms, Amida's message of salvation, and if they become open, entrust to him. Quote, when sentient beings in the various forms of existence throughout the 10 quarters, on hearing Amida's name of transcendent virtues, come to attain true and real shinjin or faith, they greatly rejoice at what they have heard. Beings born in the Pure Land in the past, present and future are not solely from this world. They come from Buddha land throughout the 10 quarters, and are countless, innumerable, beyond calculation. End quote. The meaning of faith or shinjin, nembutsu, and wish to be born in the Pure Land, sincerely entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land, and say my name perhaps even 10 times.